Bring that.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
McCaffrey's gonna score.
He gets picked off by Hufanga. Fred Warner with the INT. George Kittle.
That's a sackaroonie, baby.
Ball is out. It is picked up. Run back the other way.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gold Rush Podcast. I'm your host, Javen Takar. And another Sunday, and another 49ers loss. First and foremost, I hope you enjoy the intro. That is new. I was in the last episode, but I didn't really acknowledge it. I worked really hard on it. I hope you like it. It was really fun to make. And I hope it kind of brings some life to the videos here. But we've got bigger problems to address. Week 8 preview. Week 8 review. Week 8 preview, the previous video, we talked about how this game will dictate how the rest of the season will go. It'll dictate how the 49ers move at the trade deadline. It'll dictate a lot of things, especially after losing in Cleveland, after losing against Minnesota. Now you're back home in Levi's on a 2-game losing streak. This game was supposed to turn that corner. Supposed to put everything else behind us, put those other losses behind us. Hey, we're a serious team. The Cincinnati Bengals, they're a serious team. Hey, we beat them. Let's not forget this is the team that beat the Dallas Cowboys. We're serious. This was supposed to be that game. However, it wasn't. It wasn't. The San Francisco 49ers lose 31-17 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow and company, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, absolutely lit up this team. This defense is an embarrassment. And it really feels like this team is not that same team that destroyed the Dallas Cowboys. It's not the same 5-0 team. And what is it? What is the problem? If you haven't noticed, I don't have my 2 mics that I normally have. And that's because I feel like I needed both hands to really express my frustration with this team in these past 3 weeks. Now, of course, you guys might say, hey, who am I to say all this stuff? And frankly, hey, if that's your thinking, it's okay. I understand as well. And you don't have to watch. But for those that care, that are trying to get vast opinions about the 49ers, stay tuned. I've got a lot to say. I like to keep my videos around less than 20 minutes. This might go a little longer. So stay tuned. Grab a snack. If you're driving on your commute to work or to school, hey, welcome. You're in a perfect position. If you're not, you just put it on in the background at home. Well, I hope you can tune in a little bit and maybe grab a snack or a drink if you're listening to my soothing voice for your entertainment. But anyways, let's get into the game, huh? The opening drive, the 49ers have scored a touchdown or a field goal at least on every opening drive up until this point. What was it? I believe it was a 3 and out. Sorry about that. You got a run play with CMC. He picked up, I believe it was 8 or 9, and then run up the middle with CMC. It didn't work. And then it was a fullback dive with Juszczyk. Clogged up. DJ Reader was an absolute menace this game. None of the run game was working as CMC only accumulating 54 yards. He wasn't even the leading rusher. Brock Purdy was our leading rusher with 57 on 6 carries. And yes, that was the moral of the story. Really, Brock Purdy, we'll get into him a lot later on. I kind of want to just cover the Bengals and how they did well against us. And then we'll go into the offensive struggles, the defensive struggles. Special teams did great. Jake Moody hit his field goals. How wonderful. Joe Burrow, he was just lighting us up. Now, this was, I believe, his first game where he was fully healthy. And in the past games, he was pretty much just a sitting duck there in the pocket, which isn't the Joe Burrow that we all know. Joe Burrow, he finds his way out of things. And that is totally what he did against the 49ers. Now, the defense, this was a comeback game. They were supposed to make a statement. Nick Bosa touched him. Eric Armstead touched him. Joe Burrow got out of the pocket, made a nice throw to, I believe it was T. Higgins, who was, he had himself, I think, one of his better games of the season. I think he had his best game was a couple weeks back, I think like week 2 or 3. But this was 5 catches for 69 yards. He's been struggling recently, so this was big for him. Jamar Chase, 10 catches, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. There was no answer for him. Joe Mixon, hey, this defense let up so many rushing yards. Mixon went for 87. Joe Burrow ran for 43. Joe Burrow threw for 283 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, there was just no stopping the Bengals offense. Zach Taylor simply outcoached Kyle Shanahan and Steve Wilks. There was nothing else to it. Logan Wilson got an interception. Jermaine Pratt got an interception. And then, what's his name? Who else got an interception? Oh, man. Somebody else got an interception, but they're not listed on here, actually, huh? Yeah, so, no. 2 interceptions. My bad. I thought it was Brock Purdy threw for 3 interceptions. I'm pretty sure he did. I don't think it's on the stat sheet, because he threw the game-losing one as well, and then he threw the duck to Logan Wilson. So, yeah, actually, I think the Google stat sheet that I have up right now is incorrect. Brock Purdy threw for 3 interceptions. That was the game-losing one. He threw the duck to, no, my apologies. Look at this, live on air here. I'm not trying to cut anything out. Brock Purdy had a game-losing fumble. The interception was called back. Play after, hey, we got a second chance. Let's go. Takes the snap, pressure to his left side. Trey Hendrickson knocks that ball out. It's a fumble. Cincinnati jumps on top of it. That was the game. My apologies. Hey, everybody makes mistakes. I totally forgot that interception was called back. Okay, enough about the Bengals, because they pretty much just sliced and diced the defense. They had their way, and they pretty much controlled what the 49ers were doing on offense. They had great containment. Brock Purdy threw some ducks. They elevated on the interceptions. Let's talk about number 13. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Could have been 3. Had the fumble. Pretty much, I'm not going to say pretty much. The game wasn't totally on Brock Purdy, but the game could have been saved by Brock Purdy. Obviously, 2 interceptions and 3 turnovers is not going to help the team. So he was not a net positive. However, the bright spot, his legs. It could have been a lot uglier had it not been for Brock Purdy's mobility. Very underrated scrambler. And everybody kind of knows now at this point he's pretty elite at avoiding pressure and this and that. But I mean, it got to a point, obviously, at the end of the game, it's what costed us. He was getting away from pressure. Bang, fumble. McCaffrey, listen, this has really been, I feel like, the 49ers struggles. McCaffrey has not been able to get going like he used to. And yes, he got his touchdown. Yay, great. He got 2 touchdowns today, actually. One was receiving. But on the ground game, and I think this is where the Trent Williams being out really comes in, the 49ers really could not get going. You know, McCaffrey was getting 100. Trent Williams goes out. Oh, he gets stopped. And so I think when we get Big Trent back, that's going to be huge for this team. As for passing, hey, Kittle had a great game. So that's always nice. 9 receptions, 149 yards. A lot of those coming at the end of the game and at the end of the half where we was pretty much just scrambling. And Ayuk, 5 catches for 109 yards. So, hey, the receivers did good. That's great to see, huh? No Deebo Samuel again. And, hey, man, this bye week could not have come any sooner. Let's talk about a little bit more about that offense. Shanahan, I think he's struggling. I don't know what's going on. The play calling is very conservative. Actually, today it was not bad, but it was just nothing was working. And maybe it's me just trying to grasp at straws and just trying to nitpick, but I do think that Shanahan's play calling has gotten a little bit different. I think he's trying to overthink everything. He's trying to beat himself in his head. Just stick to the gun, stick to what we know, and get the ball in Ayuk's hands. Yes, Ayuk did have 5 catches, but I think that he should be a 10-catch type of guy. He should, and I get that the defenses will be all over him, but Ayuk is talented enough, and I'm sure Shanahan can scheme him up. Defensively, this is the biggest problem. We have not been able to stop a fly. Talanoa Hufanga led the team in tackles, but no turnovers. No, we had the fumble. There was a fumble that the 49ers got in the it stopped the Bengals inside their 5, or they were inside the Niners 5 or something like that, inside the 10. They got a fumble. That was huge. That was great. That was fine and dandy. But in general, no stopping them. No stopping him. The pressure, hey, Eric Armstead got 2 sacks, which is great and all. But, like, that's it. Nick Bosa got 0.5 a sack. Clinton Farrell got 0.5 sack. For a team that's paying their defensive line this much, with this much talent, Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, Randy Gregory, Clinton Farrell was actually really nice. Javon Kinlaw has been playing really well this season. There's no way they should not each be getting pressure. They should not be each, making the quarterback uncomfortable. They should be getting sacks. All of them should be getting sacks. Nick Bosa, for his contract, he should be getting a sack a game. Guy's got like 3 sacks in 8 games now. It's heartbreaking, and it really feels like that D-line, which is supposed to be the heart and soul of the team, their struggles is affecting everyone, even on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like the defensive line was struggling early on as well. But the offense was moving so well, and maybe it's just the teams are weaker, that it didn't really seem to matter how the defense did. But, it's like the stat line, it doesn't say that, though. Like, the defense was supposed to be popping. Fred Warner was, like, Defensive Player of the Year at one point. And now it's just nothing. Nothing is clicking. The DBs are getting toasted. You know what? I will say, they don't go Diamador Lenoir's side. Diamador Lenoir, he's been quiet. You don't hear his name very often, which I think is a good thing for a DB. Charvarius Ward, he gets targeted like crazy, and he's always so aggressive. He's so grabby. That's a net negative. Isaiah Oliver, man, he made some plays, no doubt about it. But it's very obvious that teams target him, and he cannot keep up with receivers. And they just, he let up a touchdown today to Jamar Chase, which, hey, that's a common thing. It's Jamar Chase. But it was just, he wasn't even near him. Like, the 49ers need to make a move at the DB spot. But I guess a pass rusher wouldn't hurt either. I was on team no pass rusher. I'm contradicting myself here. I'm all over the place here on this episode because that's how I feel like this team is. They're just all over the place. Montez Sweat, Chase Young, we need to get them on the way, dude. Something needs to change. And I'm going to contradict myself again by saying there's enough talent that a new player, a superstar, won't help as much, and that it comes down to the coaching. It comes down to Steve Wilkes in the booth, and it comes down to Shanahan on the sideline. There's a certain point where it comes to that. Like, the team, you already got Fred Warner, you already got Nick Bosa, you already got Javon Hargrave, Charvarius Ward's supposed to be good, you got All-Pro Hufanga, Tayshaun Gibson Island. There's a certain point that it's like, okay, how much more do you need? How much more are you going to add and then keep struggling? That's the defense. Nothing working for the defense. Hey, I'm glad that we got sacks. I'm glad Eric Armstead got 2 sacks. But it just needs to tighten up. And Steve Wilkes, he loves this tight coverage stuff. It's not tight coverage. He loves the cushion. He gives so much room for receivers underneath that it kills the 49ers. And then in the second half, when he started tightening up, hey, we looked a little bit better. We got some stops, but then the offense couldn't get going. I want to highlight Brock Purdy a little bit more. Actually, I have a tweet here that I saved by Garo Mexican 831, aka Dante Johnson Island. Hey, we might need to call up Dante Johnson again. It's getting to that point. Call up Dante Johnson. If I'm wrong, feel free to let me know. This is an anti-quote. But I'm kind of getting the feeling that Kyle traded Trey for this very reason. If Brock were to struggle, he didn't want the chance to be loud for Trey to come in. No one at all is clamoring for Darnold to come in. And that is absolutely true. Hey, whether you like it or not, Brock Purdy is struggling. Yes, we were a field goal away from being 6-2. It shouldn't come down to that. Brock Purdy got concussed in Minnesota. Oh, that's bad luck. It shouldn't come down to that. We shouldn't come down to the last drive, especially against those teams. This is a Deshaun Watson-less Cleveland Browns, a Justin Jefferson-less Minnesota Vikings. The Bengals team is legit. We should have just been able to compete with them. And we did for about 3 quarters. Brock Purdy looked pretty good for about 3 quarters. And then he got a little tripped up and he hit the back of his head. I don't know if he got concussed to that again or if that made him feel a little woozy and that's what led to these interceptions. But, man, you got to imagine. if that third overall pick Trey Lance was here. And I'm sorry. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. But it seems like the people on the interweb were very patient with Brock Purdy. He's just this and that, it's just one bad game. And I get it. Hey, Brock Purdy has proven nothing. He's proven nothing. Okay, he won 8 straight games in a row, lost in Philly because he hurt his elbow. Boom, he had his bad game. He's had bad games that the Niners are able to win because the team is talented enough. I don't think he played particularly good against the Rams. I don't think he played particularly good against the Giants. But the team was good enough to carry him. I don't know what's going on with the team now that's not able to do the same thing. This is a different team. Like I said at the beginning, this is a different team than that 5-0 squad. And the bye week couldn't come sooner. I already said this before. But Brock Purdy needs to play better. It's that simple. And I get it that you want to say, Brandon Ayuk, he dropped some passes. We don't have Trent Williams. We don't have Debo. Great teams find ways to excel, to play through that. You play through adversity. That's where you can tell Super Bowl teams and playoff teams, if that. Because it seems to look like a barely playoff team, frankly. This is not a team to win a Super Bowl. This is not a team to beat Philadelphia. They probably wouldn't beat Dallas if they played again and playing like this. This team is playing soft. This team is playing scared. And I truly hope that they look at themselves in the mirror during this bye week and whether they improve by getting new players or the coaches, there's some changes. Because that's really what it comes down to. It's that simple. I guess it's not really that simple. But it kind of is. Because you got the talent. You just got to put it all together. They need to light a fire in themselves. And I thought that would happen after Cleveland. I thought it would happen after Minnesota. And it didn't. The Bengals were a good team that was supposed to be maybe even a Super Bowl preview. But it wasn't. And it won't be if the Niners continue playing like this. They won't get near the Super Bowl. Now, we can all settle down a little bit because people were tweeting and I don't have the tweet. I forgot to save the tweets specifically. But DeMeco Ryans struggled his first year. Robert Saleh struggled their first year. But then we ended up making the playoffs and making deep run-ins into the playoffs. And so it's kind of a nasty feeling that we're 5-3. But I feel like if the losses came at any other time, it would be okay. It's just the fact of the matter. You started 5-0. You have this advantage over all the other teams in the league. And then you lose 3 straight. And now Seattle is winning the division. People are going to argue that the Cowboys are better, that the Eagles are better, which they are. Depending on how Monday night goes, the Lions might be better. It's just how it is, and it's unfortunate. Right now, this 49ers team might be the 5th best team in the NFC. Maybe 4th. I don't know if I put them over the Lions after Monday night. The Cowboys look dominant against the Rams, and the Eagles are probably the best. They are the best team in the NFC. I got to give them their flowers. And it sucks to say. Niners, you've got a bye week, reflection week. These first 8 games, scrap them. You've got another set of games to look forward to, and it gets a lot tougher. You've got Jacksonville right off the bye. This is a Jacksonville team that is finding their footing, and they're hungry, just like the Bengals were. You cannot let up that game again. You let up this game, it's going to be in Jacksonville. You let up this game, it's going to be a long season. Going 4-5, really, off of a bye. And Jacksonville's also coming off of a bye that week. And then the Buccaneers. They're a scrappy team that can compete with anybody. Got to win that game. And then this is the tough stretch right here. Seattle. Philly. Seattle. Please. Right now it's looking like they will lose 2 out of those 3 games. They could easily drop all 3. Seattle's looked solid. You cannot underestimate them. Philly, like I was just saying, the best team in the NFC, and then Seattle again. Cardinals, again, are kind of like the Buccaneers. They're scrappy. They can compete. The Ravens on Christmas Day. Please don't spoil Christmas. Please, at the very least. And then you got the Commanders on New Year's Eve. And then the Rams, Niners, Week 17. It's a long season ahead. And, we can still, 14-3 is still possible. 14-3 is still possible. Right now it's looking like we might go maybe 10-7. We might drop one to Seattle, drop one to Philly, drop one to the Ravens. Okay. What's that? 11-6. 11-6 is looking like it might be likely right now if nothing changes for the 49ers. 11-6 or 10-7 against Jacksonville. That's not winning the division. That might not make the playoffs. 49ers, there needs to be some changes. And I'm not going to... Sorry, y'all. The camera only has a 20-minute limit. We're going over 20 minutes here. As I was saying, I'm not going to call for a Steve Wilkes firing. But what I am going to want to call for is change. That's got to be the topic. That's got to be the motto going into week 10, technically speaking, if we're skipping the bye week. And I do believe the Niners will get there. We just got to be patient, faithful. Man, it's going to be a long season. But you got to believe in Shanahan. You got to believe in John Lynch. Trade deadline. As I'm recording this, it's currently Sunday night. Trade deadline is Tuesday, October 31st. Halloween. Happy Halloween, folks. Niners, I hope to make a move, and we can report on that. As it stands, this is not a good team. This is not a good team. Playing weak. They're playing scared. But I do believe things will change. Brock Purdy's got to play better. He's got 5 interceptions the last 3 games. I forgot to mention that. 5 interceptions the last 3 games is unacceptable after starting 0 in 5 games. He's got to perform better. Is he our franchise? Because right now he's not looking like it. CMC, he's getting his touchdowns. He's tied with the record. He could break it against Jacksonville, and I would love to see that. Kittle's doing his thing. Ayuk is doing his thing. Trent and Debo, hope to have them back. Defensive side of the ball, Fred Warner. He's a beast still. Nick Bosa's got to get to the quarterback. He's got to finish. Hey, the pressures are great and all, but look at the great guys. T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, Michael Parsons. They're getting sacks. Kayvon Thibodeau just had a 3-sack game. When is that going to happen for Nick Bosa? It's got to happen. Got to be some changes. 49er faithful, I'm going to call it there. 49ers, Cincinnati, 31-17. Take the loss. Take the loss. Learn from it. Move on. Bye week. Let's take it easy. Let's breathe. Let's enjoy our week off. And, to Jacksonville in 2 weeks, technically speaking, right? Yes. Should be fun. I'm excited. Of course, I'm going to stay faithful. Didn't want to mention Trey Lance too much in this episode. I hope I didn't bore you. I understand he's with Dallas now, and real unfortunate. I was a Trey guy, but it seems like we gave up on him a little too early. Oops, I'm sorry. I'll make a separate video on that, I think. Folks, I will see you in the next one. Hey, look, I barely went over 20 minutes. See, I got y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. It's been fun. Again, ever since I've consistently been covering the 49ers after that Dallas Cowboy win, the 49ers are 0-3. I think we might need to start an official counter or something because it's getting ugly. I might need to call it quits. All right, folks, I'll see you in the next one. Boring out this intro. I'll see y'all in the next one. I appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you check out all the socials. That'll be in the description below. I appreciate you for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, faithful.